sovereign and people know this. It is possible that some who don't know the facts may blame the Emir for such happenings. It is therefore incumbent upon the Emir to make an effort to counter this erroneous edict. This would not just clear his name, but he would be amply rewarded by God. From among the rights of the people there is nothing more virtuous than to deliver them from the threat of the sword. Since most of those who use violence in such manners are Afghan and a sizable majority lives in the country of Amir Sahib, therefore Amir Sahib has an opportunity from God to leave behind this great reform as part of his legacy. To the best of his ability, he should try to cleanse the Afghan nation of these violent habits that are cause of defamation of Islam. This is the time of the promised Messiah. Certainly, God will create means for the world which is filled with persecution, injustice, and bloodshed to be filled with justice, peace, and friendship. Blessed are those sovereigns and kings who partake from it. Towards the end, I wish to make a special request to our kind government. Even as I am aware that our government is wise and astute, it is incumbent upon us to present forth any suggestions in our minds that may be useful for the public and the government. In my view, it is a matter of certainty that this violent habit of Afghans in the frontier areas, due to which some innocent is killed almost daily, has two causes. First, those Maulvis who believe that killing people of other religions, especially Christians, is an act of great virtue. This would open the doors of great rewards of paradise that cannot be achieved either with salat, hajj, zakat, or any other good deeds. I am well aware of the fact that these people preach this to the public in secret. By listening to such sermons, some who are little better than beasts take great inspiration. They become like animals and are left with not an iota of mercy. They commit such horrendous acts that one's spine shudders. Even as the frontier lands and Afghan country is brimming with such Maulvis who deliver these sermons, I believe that Punjab and India are not free from them. If government believes that the Maulvis of this country are free from such ideas, it should look again. In my view, most of the ignorant, angry mullahs living in the mosques are not free from such filthy ideas. If these ideas were the result of the holy word of God, I would have considered them blameless, as one is powerless in the matters of faith. Verily I tell you, as they ignore the benevolence of this government and are its clandestine enemies, they are also convicted before God and are rebellious. I have explained in detail that the word of God does not command us to spill the blood of innocent people. One who believes in such is removed from Islam. Second cause for this criminal bloodshedding which is done to become a hero, in my view, is those Christian priests who have repeatedly stressed that jihad is a compulsion in Islam, and that killing the people of other faiths is a matter of great virtue in Islam. I believe that the people of frontier areas were not even aware of the doctrine of jihad. It is Christian priests who reminded them of this. My view is supported by the fact that until Christian priests distributed such journals, newspapers, and books, these incidents were negligible or almost non-existent. In fact, when the Sikh government was replaced with the Englishmen, ordinary Muslims were joyous with this change. People of the frontier regions were also pleased. Then Pastor Findal wrote his book, Mizan-ul-Haq, in 1849, and published it in India, Punjab, and frontier regions. He not only insulted Islam and the Prophet of Islam with his derogatory remarks, but also spread the word that in the religion of Islam it is not only permitted but worthy of great divine reward to kill people of other faiths. On hearing this, the ignorant living in the frontier regions that had no knowledge of their faith woke up. They understood that in their faith it was meritorious to kill people of other faiths. After much thought, I believe, the cause of most incidents in the frontier regions and violent enmity among the people living there were those books written by the priests and pastors in which they used violent language and repeatedly discussed jihad beyond all reason. At last, after the popularity of Mizan-ul-Haq and its poisonous consequences, our government had to issue Act No. 23 of 1867 to check the spread of such violent ideas. This law was passed for the 6 tribes in the frontier areas, and it was hoped that it would help to stop these violent incidents. Unfortunately, later on, filthy and bitter writings of Pastor Imaduddin Amritsari and some other foul-mouthed pastors damaged the cause of friendship and love within the country. Similarly, the books of many other priests and pastors, detail of which is not necessary, have not been behind in sowing the seeds of enmity in our hearts. In short, these people became a serious obstacle in the wisdom of the government. Our government acted commendably when it did not prohibit Muslims from writing the replies to these books. In these replies to bitterness, the Muslims also showed some bitterness, but this only proved the open-minded nature of the government. Because of these derogatory writings, the expected riots were avoided as a result of even-handedness and sincerity of the government. As we acknowledge with great sadness that mullahs of Islam followed the wrong concept of jihad and preached it to the tribes of frontier so they would spill the blood of honorable officers of friendly government and unjustly hurt it, we are also disappointed with mullahs of Europe, that is, pastors and priests. With their unjust, bitter, and false writings they agitated the ignorant. By repeatedly bringing up the issue of jihad, they impressed upon the ignorant Muslims that in their faith it is an easy way to paradise. If they were not conspiring in their hearts, they should have compared the jihad of Moses and Joshua with the jihad of our Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. They should have known and kept quiet. Even if we assume that the most important factor in investigating the public are Islamic Maulavis, fairness demands us to acknowledge that at least some part of this instigation were the writings of the priests that offended the Muslims. It is sad that some commit an act and then go away, but create problems for the English government. In my view, better course of action to resolve these issues is the example of the government of Rome. As a test, all factions should be prohibited from directly or indirectly mentioning the faith of others in their writings and speeches for a few years. They are permitted to recount the virtues of their own religion. This would obviate the cultivation of new plants of hatred. Ancient tales will be forgotten and people will turn to friendship and love. The wild men of frontier areas, upon witnessing this love and friendship among the nations, will follow and be as kind to Christians as one Muslim to another. The second approach is that if Maulavis of Punjab truly oppose this concept of jihad, they should publish journals and translate them into Pashto language and disseminate in the tribes of frontier regions. Without doubt, this would be very effective. For all this, it is important to make a genuine effort with conviction, with no hypocrisy. Advertiser, humble Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, promised Messiah from QADIANI. Written May 22, 1900. Addendum to publication Jihad. The real nature of the claim of being Jesus the Messiah and Muhammadi Mahdi, and a request before His Majesty Nawab Viceroy Sahib. Even as I have explained this in many of my books, that my claim of being Jesus the Messiah and Muhammadi Mahdi is not based on the idea that I am in reality Jesus, peace be on him, or Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be on him. Still, those who have not examined my books more carefully can erroneously perceive that I am talking about reincarnation, as if I have claimed that the souls of both these holy men have appeared within me. This is not correct. In fact, for the latter days, the earlier prophets had foretold that there will be two types of transgressions. First, there will be transgression in the matters of creation, and then there would be transgression in the matters of the Creator. Transgression in the matters of creation would be that under the guise of jihad, human blood will be spilled. By killing an innocent person, one would imagine that such brutality would bring him great divine reward. Many other types of persecution will be practiced in the name of religion. So this is the promised time. In fairness, every God-fearing person has to accept it. Every day, the violent tribes of the frontier regions kill English officers who are guardians of their life and property, and of their Muslim brethren. This is clear brutality and trampling upon the rights of the creation. Do they not recall the time of Sikhs who were ready to kill just for calling out Azan? What is the fault of the English government that its honorable officers are punished in this manner? This government permitted complete religious freedom as soon as it took over Punjab. This is not the time of persecution, when even for whispering the call to prayers one was roughed up. Now you can call out Azan from the top of the minarets. Now you can perform salat in congregation in your mosques and nothing would stop you. In the time of Sikhs, Muslims were akin to slaves. In the English administration, their respective